I guess they have to practice. All right, call this meeting to order in open session. Welcome to this evening's hybrid Board of Trustees meeting being held both in person as well as virtually. This meeting is being made accessible to members of the public on the link at the Moreland School District website, as well as on board docs. Any person who requires accommodations to access the meeting has been asked to contact the superintendent's office within 24 hours of the meeting. The meeting is being recorded and may be published online at a later date. So we are reconvened. We're going to go right to the flag salute. Yep.
Six years and then they changed it.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So you both play the violin. How long have you been playing the violin? Last year. And you have a concert to get to right now. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Kelly, did you have any questions?
Sorry, not off the top of my head, but I just want to say thank you. I know you guys are like feeling pretty antsy to get over there. I want to say good luck. I hope it's a fabulous performance. Yeah, tonight.
Awesome. So, yeah, my daughter played the violin, and in fact, I think there is one 3/4 size violin sitting under her bed for the last 8 years gathering dust.
Oh, no.
But is there a particular piece that you guys are looking forward to playing this evening? Okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a popular one.
Very nice. Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming.
My understanding is this is the honors concert, isn't that right? This is the honors
Oh.
orchestra. No, I just wanted to make sure everyone in the room knew that this is the all district honors band and honors orchestra concert tonight. So I wanted to give you extra kudos and congratulations. And if we get out in time, which we could, depends on how people talk, maybe just rush on over there and see part of it. Motivation to come see you guys.
And I want to add, is also our student council president and vice.
Oh my God.
Oh, fabulous.
Awesome.
Representing Anderson tonight.
Wonderful.
Nice job.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Brian?
I say this to all the students that come, thank you, because we want to orient the time that we spend here around our students. And you're the image that we're going to have tonight, which we talk about a variety of topics. And so I know it seems weird, why would you come and lead us through a flag salute, but it actually does matter. And we get a chance, one, to know more about our students and the good work that they're doing, like Honors Band. But we also get a chance to make sure that we're always thinking, whatever decision we're going to make, about the students and the impact to you guys as students. And so you are carrying the mantle for all Moreland students tonight as the flag bearers for your student population. So thank you. And thank you for making Anderson a great place to go to school. So that's all. No tough questions for me.
Melissa and Giselle, thank you so much for
Thank
coming tonight. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Just that they are an honors program.
Yeah.
It's,
Make sure
it's
everyone knew that.
impressive.
So congratulations, you guys can
Yes.
go. You're
Yes,
excused.
thank
so
you.
much. Go to my office and come drop this thing.
I was gonna just report out that there was no action taken in closed session and move to approval of the agenda. We still need to do the oath of office next. we'll rearrange the agenda a little bit, but with that change, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the amended agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. All right, so Ms. Shelley Hong and Huron Shot Rocky, I am going to be swearing you in your new.
Want to
Go
go down?
Go down in public.
Usually.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
sworn in a kneeling process. Yeah. Is it the wrong? I can't remember how. No, it's an item. I can.
Is it the official name?
One at a time or.
Okay, can't stop.
Do it together.
Terrible.
Unless they want to do it individually.
I think it's.
Oh.
No, you can do it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, you each have to say your own name, but then we can. Okay. We raise your right hand, sorry. Right hand. I, Shelley Hong,
I, Shelley Hong,
I, Sriram Chakrathi,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the
and
Constitution
allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of California.
and the state of
and the
Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation
That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
I want to know that also glad that you listen to the US military. It is, the state of California.
Oh, yeah.
You can always tell the state government, what about us?
But twice.
Twice.
I do need to sign this.
Yeah, this one.
Yes, and I'll be turning that in.
Wow, very exciting.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Another 12 years of service.
That's how we roll in Moreland.
That's right.
And we'll move to the superintendent's report.
Okay,
Dr. Cod.
yes, well, December is the month for student performances for sure. And we are very fortunate to have the robust music program here in Moreland that we have. I was able to attend the Easterbrook Discovery School Middle School Winter Concert earlier, a couple weeks ago. And the jazz band performed one of my favorites, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. It was actually really fun. Latimer, MMS had their concerts. And tonight, as you know, at the community center gym, I believe it starts at 7. The honors band and orchestra from across all of our schools will be performing. Speaking of student performances, I was also able to attend the musical junior performance, which was a first-time collaboration with Latimer and Moreland Middle School students. I think they had about 80 students in that play. It was wonderful. I want to congratulate both the cast and all those who helped put it on, including Principal Gill and Molinelli, who coordinated to make rehearsals between the two schools happen. And I believe it's the first time ever Latimer had a starting arts play.
Yeah.
So it was a very special night. And then the MEF 5K is back, so put on your running shoes, everyone at the district office and all of the board, March 29th, 9 a.m., mark your calendars. We already have a committee working on it, so it's happening. It's a done deal. I want to thank everybody who donated. What was that?
Did I hear 5K walk?
You-
Yeah.
Last time, you totally walked. We raised 3,500 pounds of food for West Valley Community Services during our Moreland Food Drive, which I believe was just 2 short weeks. So I want to thank everybody for contributing. We have a teacher, Julie McKinley Reed, who is newly nationally board certified, which is a really big deal. She teaches 2nd grade at Country Lane. This process takes a couple of years. It's rigorous. You have to videotape yourself. You have to write reports. It's a lot of reflection. it's a rigorous process. She did this through Stanford School of Education. Congratulations, Julie. We want to commend you on that achievement. It's a very big deal. We are planning to roll out a registration for enrollment on Monday, January 13th. Unbelievable. So any student who is going to be 4 by September 1st is available for free transitional kindergarten. And then any child who is 5 by September 1st is ready for kindergarten. We have parent tours in our schools. Those will be on our website. On the school's websites, we'll be sending out postcards again to our community about enrolling. We've got banners. We're doing some digital ads. And then open enrollment for inter-district transfers won't begin until March. It's only during the month of March. And so I think we've cleaned up our enrollment website. We're ready to go. And so that is happening. Let's see. Winter break. I want to thank Cabinet and everybody for all the work that you have been doing. We all deserve, including all of the staff out in the schools, a nice restful break. We do close this building for the 2 weeks of Christmas break. We shut down for business, which is really nice. Of course, our schools are closed. We will be back on January 6th. So it's a kind of, it seems like a long break, but it's still the 2 weeks. So we want everyone to enjoy this time, have a safe, warm, and heartfelt holiday season. And then lastly, I would like to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about Evangeline. Sorry. So after 18 years in the district and 40 years in education, she has decided to take on a new role as a grandmother. This is Evangeline's last official board meeting. I'm not going to look at her. I want to thank Evangeline for her commitment to Moreland, her steadfast leadership and diligence in keeping the business side of things moving so smoothly for all of these years. And just being someone who would always be willing to talk to me and allow me to change my mind 36 times within one day. She has personally taught me the ins and outs of budgeting and how to understand the very complicated funding formulas in California. And I feel at ease knowing that she has created strong foundation for us all to stand on. She is leaving us with some very big shoes to fill, but we want to wish her all the best in her next chapter. We know this isn't going to be an official goodbye. And as the Anderson staff always says, it's just a see you later, alligator. So as a very small token of our appreciation, we want to present you with your glass Moreland apple now, along with love from all of us. And we want to congratulate you on this next adventure. And that concludes my remarks for this portion of the agenda.
Whew, okay. Board member communications.
I don't think I have any.
Okay.
You might want to come back.
You can go.
Shelley and I had the pleasure of going to Anderson and doing a school site visit. It was the last school site visit that kind of got bumped around due to scheduling conflicts, et cetera. But so we were so happy to actually make it out there. Jody took some time out from her very busy schedule to kind of walk us through. The school, as always, we thoroughly appreciate the time that they take to walk us through that. Anderson, it's a unique campus in itself. It has tons of opportunities and challenges as well that Jody walked us through and kind of showed us what they're doing in terms of small group instructions and intervention studies, et cetera, especially on the reading side. That's having a pretty good impact. So we're looking forward to seeing the results of all of the hard work that everybody there is putting in.
Yes, I think Sharon said everything. And again, I just wanted to say thank you to Jody. Should have just said it to her, right? And she's not here anymore, but yeah, we had to reschedule a couple of times, and so she was super accommodating. So, and I know that's really difficult to do. So I just wanted to reiterate how thankful we are for that.
And before I hand it off, I just wanted to take 30 seconds. Evangeline, thank you so much for everything that you've done for the district. 18 years is a long time, and you've absolutely earned every day of wanting to. It's probably the best time that you'll have looking forward to being a grandmother. So wish you all the best, and I personally have benefited so much from your knowledge of the business, and just being able to understand and explain things to somebody who doesn't get education and the finances behind it. So thank you so much for being so patient with me. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I've like the time I've served here, you've been an amazing steward of this district. I think it's a good term for you. Because you really always thought ahead about our resources and our kids. And you'll be missed. You've just been a great teammate all along. And Chris has some shoes to fill. He's going to be great at it, but he's gonna be great at it because you laid a foundation of transparency, of good governance, of good documentation, of right decision-making, and we'll be lucky to carry on the traditions that you created. And you've played a role behind the scenes for a long time, and it was wonderful to see you step into this role. I'm glad that you're going out as a chief business officer because you not only earned it, but you are a great example of it. And so for our little district to have had such a great leader in that space during some very hard times, we will benefit for years to come from what you've done. And I think you've role modeled what it is to be a collaborative team member and trustworthy resource. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'll cry over it. And then I went to, I did get a chance to attend MMS's fall sports banquet. It is a nice community event where families get together, you have a meal, and then kids are recognized for the work that they did. Power went out.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
No, I mean, it's a mixed blessing, right? It's like the power went out. Kids, of course, go bananas. It's dark. And but it's a testament to the resilience of staff that just kind of figured it out. And without missing a beat, nobody panicked, awards were given, kids were recognized. I think that competitive sports help lots of ways. Lots of different students get a chance, much like music, to show their strengths and meet new kids and work together. And so I think all in all, rousing success. And I'm thankful that they didn't panic. They did a very nice job of keeping it moving. So kudos to that team. That's all.
Oh, sorry. I also just want to say, Evangeline, before Heather goes, I just want to say thank you. Numbers are very difficult for me. And every time I see the sheet, I'm like, oh, it's okay, because Evangeline will be able to clarify and just really in layman's terms explain it to me. And I just want to say thank you so much for that. Truly, I think you really embody, kids first, and you do it through how the whole district operates with finances, and you always think of our kids and what can be best for them and how you distribute the money, and learned so much. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you again.
Welcome.
Now I don't know which to do first. I attended the MEF meeting. Exciting news coming out of that were that they have a new treasurer and an Anderson rep. So they are almost fully represented, which is terrific. Clover already mentioned the 5K and all the concerts. So that was pretty much covered. President's Council, they shared all their dances, walkathons, holiday boutiques, restaurant nights. They're very busy, and have met a lot of their goals, which is super exciting too. And now for Evangeline. Numbers are not my thing either. And I can remember before you took a leadership role, always appreciating your presentations because like Shelley mentioned, it made sense to me. A lot of the ins and outs, I don't know how you've kept track of, but you absolutely have. And the one word that comes to my mind is trust. And have had so much trust in you, your leadership, the way you look at the budget, the way you present the budget, the way you've managed everything. It's given our board complete peace of mind, which is immeasurable. And we are just eternally grateful for that. So thank you for all that you've done. I have loved you in a cabinet role and I will miss you, but I'm excited for you to play the role of grandma.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I do have, as I've shared with Clover, mixed feelings about it.
Sure.
This has been my life for 40 years. My mom is watching my granddaughter right now, but she'll be turning 80 in March. So, physically she's slowing down, but she's enjoyed her time with my granddaughter. So I know how that's going to impact her of not spending every day with her. So I have mixed feelings. But I've also very much enjoyed my years here. I enjoyed everybody that I've worked with, everything I've learned, and I am immensely grateful for this opportunity. Because as I've shared with Clover, I always thought I didn't belong in this role. So I thank you for your trust. I thank you for your words today. They're very moving. But it's not a goodbye, as Clover said. This is a see you later. I think he's got me on speed dial already. Both of us. Both do. And I keep saying when we, because I do plan on returning and helping out as much as I can until which time they no longer need me.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We made her promise to bring the baby.
Tasha needs the baby.
I will babysit and she can, yeah. Give me my baby fix.
All right.
Like when here, the baby.
No, we'll just have her on speed dial all the time.
How old is the baby?
15 months.
Oh, cute.
She's up and around and everywhere right now.
Yeah.
I'll get the good period.
Oh.
That's exciting. I don't think we have an MTA update.
No.
Okay. So we will go to the first interim report.
Okay.
Public-
Sorry, hold on one second.
Oh,
I didn't do comments.
comments from the public.
Because we had like kind of switched.
We
Oh,
switched
right.
up and I
Okay.
skipped it. My
Yeah.
apologies.
Okay.
Should
Should I
we-
still read it?
We should still
think
do
so.
it.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Members of the public may address the board on any subject of concern to you, including those not on tonight's agenda. However, provisions of the Brown Act preclude any action as an unagendized item. No response is required or permitted from the board or district staff. And as already stated, no action can be taken. The board, however, may instruct the superintendent to follow up, which may or may not include placing the item on a future meeting's agenda. If you would like to address the board this evening, please complete the blue public comment card within the first 15 minutes of the board meeting being called to order in public session. On the card, please list the agenda items you would like to speak to. If your comments do not pertain to an agendized item, please write public comment. When your name is called, please come to the podium, state your name and organization that you are representing. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per board governance manual. And we do not have any public comments this evening.
Thank you, Shirley. All right. First interim report.
Okay. Ulysses, could you bring up the presentation? So tonight's presentation on the first interim, this is our first revision of the budget that you saw back in June for the current fiscal year. Some of the changes that have transpired since are just normal operational changes. We have, it's the PowerPoint, Ulysses. That's the one. The enrollment projections and how they have changed since when we worked on them a year ago. Assumptions for the current fiscal year and both of the subsequent fiscal years. And then as always, we break down the unrestricted general fund budget and then next steps where we go from here. So there you go. Okay, so what you see in the first interim, if you take a look at the actual SACS forms, is a comparison of budget. So the first one is always what you saw and you approved back in June. Where the budget was as of October 31st, because that's the cutoff date for first interim. And then what the budget was with minor adjustments after October 31st to bring us where we are now. There's also expenditures as of October 31st. And so that's basically your first interim. We are required to submit a 3-year budget, as you know, to the county office. And when those 3 years ending fund balance are positive, that's called a positive certification. So we will be submitting our first interim to the county with a positive certification. Okay, so our changes, we'll take a look at our enrollment and our ADA and how that changed. Our base grant funding or LCFF funding, our supplemental funding, which lives or resides inside LCFF, and then our state and federal entitlements or the categorical programs. We've also made changes to new hires and turnover. So when we work on budget, there are inevitably some vacancies in aides and teachers. And so our budget or position control system has an average amount that we use. But when we actually hire the person, they never land where we budget. So we have to make adjustments to our salaries and our benefits to account for the changes of where they were actually placed. We made changes then to our STRS and PERS. Our workers' comp percentage is a percentage that we never know at the time that we work on budget. This, for some reason, always comes in after. So this is the first pass of revising our salaries with the new workers' comp percent. We have changes in our special ed, in IEPs, in NPSs, in one-on-one aids, in transportation. And then in the categorical side of the house, we rebudget those balances of programs that have carryover provisions. And then the other area is on other sources. These are the contributions that come either into the unrestricted general fund or go out of the unrestricted general fund. So example, the extended care program or enterprise, they make a contribution to. Special ed, on the other hand, we make a contribution to them. So those are at times adjusted as well. Next slide. Okay, so when we did budget, we were looking at our enrollment projections and we landed on a 3778. That is not inclusive actually of our COE kiddos. And so the 3804 that you see does include our special ed kiddos. Our Moreland kiddo number was actually 3791. So we compared 3791 to 3778. So we did come in a little higher. So because of that, we adjust the future number that we are projecting. So overall, it's about a 25% or 25 number difference. Next slide, Mrs. Okay, so these are the assumptions that we use to develop or to revise the 24-25 budget, in which you see on the original budget column and then first interim. So we are using an enrollment number now of 3804 versus the 3778. We are still going to be funded on the average of the previous 3 because that still is higher than the current or the prior. And so we're going to use a 3766 rather than a 3791. Our percentage, if you remember before COVID, our attendance to enrollment yield used to be in the higher 97%, but when COVID happened, we dropped to a 94%. So we are starting to see an improvement there. Last year, we hit a 95 something. This year at the end of month number 3, that's attendance month number 3, we were at 96.33. Since we completed the first interim, month 4 rolled in, and so we're still at 96%, but barely 96%. We're 96.04.
Question, sorry, for the funded ADA, if we're using the 3 previous year averages, why did it change? Because for the, right? Like from the 3,791 to 3,766.
So when we developed the budget, that is right about the time when P2 is due. So what we get funded on is P2. We're working on our budget that's kind of conflicting with the same time frame. So P2, when we are actually funded on, isn't necessarily complete or solidified yet. So by this time, P2 has happened, P annual has happened.
Got it.
But actually, isn't your question the fact that it's kind of irrelevant because we're using this 3-year average anyways?
Only because, Brian, so the current fiscal year, what you start to see when we look at the subsequent ADAs. So remember when the governor held us harmless because of COVID? This current year is the last year of that last held harmless year.
Gotcha.
So this year, you'll see our funded ADA is going to be higher than going forward. Okay, so then again, so in October, so this was our old terminology, CBEDs are now CalPADs. This is when the schools are collecting their applications for free and reduced meals. Everybody's eating for free. But because of universal feed, everybody's eating free because of universal feeding. However, that number triggers our supplemental funding. So we still have to collect them for unduplicated pupil purposes. So our unduplicated pupil percent increased to a 47.88 versus a 46. Our unduplicated pupil count as a result also went higher. So lottery funds, this was big. So at budget time, we are funded on this is the only program that remains that we are funded on P annual, end of the year PA, end of the school year P annual. So we were funded on $177 per ADA for the unrestricted funding source and $72 for the restricted source. So that grew to 191 and 82. On the unrestricted side, we use it to fund some of the teacher salaries. On the restricted side, they use this to supplement the cost of an adoption, which is coming up in around a year or so. So that was a huge bump up in that difference of dollar figure to the restricted lottery account. Our workers' comp rate did increase from a 1.5079 to a 1.4529. And then paying preschool, the contribution to paying preschool did not change from budget time. The contribution to special ed did. So we had to increase our current year special ed program by 8 aides. And then we also received a reduction of student special ed cost at the county level. So the net of those two was about a $300,000 increase to the contribution.
Just so I always say this right. And so this is the clearest definition of our special ed encouragement is $13 million of unfunded.
Yes. In the assumptions for our 25-26 year, because we change or increase the enrollment for the current fiscal year, that change carries through. At the time that we completed the first interim, we used the COLA that was on the dartboard that we got back in July. So that's 2.93. And since then, we've heard that that could come in a little lower, like around a 2.4% or so. We're still using the 3% or the 3 prior year ADAs, but here's where you see the drop. So the previous year had a 37 something ADA, then you see the drop in the hundreds now because of that last held harmless year. We revised slightly our UPP percent, our unduplicated pupil percent. So when we are estimating or projecting a slight decline in enrollment, we also do a slight decline in our unduplicated pupil count. Lottery at this point, we haven't heard anything different for the subsequent year, so we carry that same funding number over. Same with our workers' comp rate. Our extended care, this is a funding source that contributes money into the unrestricted general fund. So there was about a $20,000 or so increase from their contribution. The paying preschool, there was a slight drop in the contribution to them next year, and a drop or an increase rather in the contribution to special ed because of the increased contribution of this year. And then routine repair, so if you remember the CSEA comp study that was conducted, so some of the positions that were in that comp study are in the routine repair program, so their cost went up, which necessitated a slightly higher contribution to routine repair. And next slide. Okay, so the other things that are in the multi-year for the 25-26 is we did reduce 8 certificated FTE just to align our enrollment with class sizes. And then in addition to that, there were 2 roving subs or floating subs that we have in the current fiscal year. So we reduced those out of the budget as well. There is an overlap of a CBO in the business office this year, which will be going away for half a year. So that's been reduced. There are 2 counselor type positions in an expiring restricted program. So one of them is a classified position, which is a mental health clinician position. The other one is an actual certificated counselor. So there's a total of 1.4 FTE that we're going to be bringing into the unrestricted general fund. And then because CSCA negotiated a 3-year contract, they have a 2% built in next year. What's not in the 25-26 are any salary increases for MTA. They only had a 2-year contract, no increases for management, and no further impacts into special ed that we know of at this point. Next slide. For 26-27, much of the same with our CBEDS change, our enrollment change, our COLA, our ADA, contributions, and nothing major here. Next slide. And then in 26-27, again, just because of a declining enrollment in class sizes, we are reducing just 3 FTE in this fiscal year. And then we had 1 additional but temporary admin at MMS. So the 25-26 would be the last year of it. So in 26-27, it's gone. And then again, no salary increases for any units in 26-27. Okay, so we're gonna put all of those numbers together. This is what they look like in each of the years. Here you can see the current in each of the years ADA, if we were being funded on the current year ADA. So as an example, in 24-25, if we were being funded on the current year ADA, we would receive funding on 3662. But because we're being funded on the average of 3, we're going to get funding on 3766. And then so forth across. Next slide. Our revenues, you can see our current year revenues are at 49 million, and then again at 49 million, and then at 50 million. Our expenditures for our certificated salaries, classified salaries, all the benefits, all services, supplies, and so forth. The indirect cost line, so this is in blue, it is in brackets, but it's not a bad bracket, it's a good bracket. This is a credit coming back into the general fund. This is basically the indirect cost percent or the administrative fee that the unrestricted general fund can charge other funding sources for the services provided to them by the unrestricted general fund. So that's a credit coming back to the unrestricted fund, basically a reduction of costs. Next slide. Okay, and then these are all the transfers in and transfers out.
I just said I learned something new every time. So,
So these are our transfers that are coming in from the enterprise extended care program. These are the transfers coming in from our lease revenue. These are transfers going out for special ed, contributions coming in from the local restricted programs, a contribution going to routine repair, and then ELOC also contributes now. Okay, so
The local programs contribution, that's seeing a pretty steep drop off in our years.
Yes, so this is the contribution coming back into the unrestricted general fund from last year. So last year we transferred what I thought was over the 10% cap that we were allowed to have. So we transferred it into the restricted side only to be able to move it back in the future years. That's what that transfer is.
Got it.
And then you can see our deficit spending level in each of the fiscal years. Our beginning balance of 12 million results in an ending fund balance of a 7.5 in the first year. And if you follow that along, by the third year, our ending fund balance is 2.4. But this is where I said, but wait, there's more. Because in the next slide, we do have our required set-asides in our 3% economic uncertainties. We have what we set aside with a resolution that's a 3-year resolution that we called enrollment decline mitigation, which lined us up to the actual 10% cap that we were allowed to have. In the current fiscal year, that 10% cap is actually no longer in effect, but because we have a 3-year resolution, we carry it through. However, the latest I've heard from the state is that that might be triggered again in next year. So we have the resolution, so it would stand. So our actual undesignated ending fund balance by the 2026-27 year is 167,000. Next slide. Okay, so where do we go from here? So in January, there'll be the governor's budget. This will be our first glimpse of what he is proposing for the 25-26 year. We'll hear if there has been a revision or a change to the COLA that we are using. STRS percent has been pretty much steady the last few years, but there is typically a fluctuation in PERS. Budget development, we have already scheduled our meetings with our school sites. Some of the changes that are happening because of our enrollment, because of our funding, could possibly impact the supplemental fund, and our school sites typically fund personnel with their funds, so we might be looking at making some changes there. Second interim, these are numbers as of October 31st, which would be brought to you by March 15th. Did I say January 31st? I hope January 31st. And then in May, we'll hear a May revise. So between May and between January and May, the governor and the legislature toss their ideas back and forth until they arrive at the May revise. That is basically the information that we will go with to finalize budget for 25-26. And then in June, you'll see the hearing at the first June meeting, and then at the final June meeting, it will be the adoption of our budget and our LCAP. Next slide.
And there was that.
There was that.
Sounds good. Any questions, comments? When do we, in that schedule, when do we talk with MEF about their contributions? Is it typically January, February, March?
I mean, I think we've already started conversations about what they may.
That came up at the, okay.
I think Anna's gonna set up a meeting
Okay.
with Debbie to start just thinking about what they might have to contribute, which will be less than years prior. So it doesn't really affect this budgeting process too much.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I know there were conversations about other, not necessarily lease, but in terms of like leasing out the fields and so on and so forth. That, I'm assuming that none of those assumptions are baked into
Correct.
this, right? So
Correct.
that would, that anything, if anything happens, that would just be on top of it, it would be bonus.
With our bond projects, like what
Yeah.
might become of those and what, yeah, right, that's
So,
too
yeah,
early to tell.
Something for us to again put on our creative hats and think about how we can do that.
All right, this is an action item. I have a motion to approve.
I'll put in a motion to approve the 24-25 first interim report.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
On to the 23-24 developer fee report.
So this is the annual requirement per government code. So we are required to share with you both two forms of information. It's all on our Fund 25, which is the fund that we use to deposit our revenue collected for developments in within the Moreland boundaries. We report beginning balance, any revenue that we took in, any expenditures that we had, and then our ending fund balance for the year. The second report also shows what we've taken in year by year. And so the rule is we should not have in our ending fund balance of the 23-24 year, for example, more than the inflow of revenue for the last 5. So that's the rule. We do not, so we're okay with that. However, there is a change also to the reporting going forward as of this last January. So should districts use their funds for construction purposes, This report would also then have to indicate which projects we are in the middle of and a timeline. We currently don't have any projects scheduled with our funds, so that is not included. But should we going forward, that would be incorporated into this report as well.
Okay,
Do we have, the El Paseo thing is obviously, seems like it's going forward. There was another article that project will go, and that's obviously within our boundaries. Does anybody have a sense for what it will generate for us from a developer fee?
We had that calculation, Brian, years ago when the conversations first started, but I believe the plan for it has changed a lot since.
Yeah.
So I'd have to take a look to see what the plan is, how many units, to be able to calculate it again.
770 units right now, down from 1,000 initially. I'd be curious if you don't mind as a
Okay.
report, if it's okay with other folks. Would love to know if that number, the idea of the developer fee was to offset impacts to kids, impacts to schools
Yes,
for new development.
yes.
And it was intended to actually be a meaningful funding source.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious if it actually is something, the one, I don't know, ray of sunshine from this project. Would love to know if it actually is meaningful or if in fact it's not meaningful. So,
One of the issues with the developer fees is that it's hard to figure out how to spend them on projects because it should be due to like impacted enrollment, and the projects aren't necessarily impacting enrollment. So you can't just use it for any type of construction. It has to be to mitigate the impacts of increased enrollment, if you will. So
Okay.
in a declining enrollment district, it makes it hard for us to think about how we can creatively spend the funds.
what I know about you guys is you are creative as a group. I'd rather have the money and figure out the creative. Which I think you guys are up to the task. But my memory was that you told us a number and it wasn't very much. And so I don't want to think that there's something, and it's over the next 7 years, that could be the equivalent of the parcel tax, or is it nothing, or is it really nothing
Mhm.
that's coming? I just don't know.
any other questions or comments? A motion?
Motion to approve the developer report.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, on to action and discussion items.
All right, this is me. The certificate of election facts certifies that the Moreland School District had qualified unopposed candidates for governing board members that should be appointed by the Board of Trustees pursuant to Education Code sections 5326 and 5328. So we ask that the Board of Trustees accept the certificate of election facts. Do I have a motion?
I will submit a motion to accept the certificate of election facts.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Almost forgot that. I'm also the second one. So pursuant to Elections Code Section 15400, we ask that the board accept the statement of votes and certificate of election results and declare the totals to be the final results of the election.
And this is for Measure U.
This is for Measure U.
Congratulations.
Yay.
I was just going through the data. Pretty cool. I'll make a motion to accept the Measure U, the statement of votes and certificate of election results for Measure U.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. On to item C, effective school solutions amendment.
This is an amendment to an existing contract that we already had with Effective School Solutions. We had a counselor at one of our school sites take a paternity or paternal leave for 4 weeks. And so to cover his absence, we are requesting an amendment to the contract.
Questions, comments, a motion?
Put in a motion to approve the amendment for the effective school solutions at Latimer.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the CONAP.
So this is our annual release, a winter release of our CONAP. This is an annual item. It's essentially a grant award letter for the remaining federal programs, our Title I, II, IIIs, 4. It's also then a way of reporting expenditures of any unspent funds for previous fiscal years, should the districts have any, and then an opportunity to report current year expenditures.
Do we have any unspent?
So a federal program will allow you up to 18 months to spend your funds. So typically, like in Title I, we would have we'll have monies left over, but we are required then to have spent them by September. So it isn't unusual, but not ongoing. Mhm.
Any other questions, comments, motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the CONAP for funding federal programs.
And I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. On to the consent. Any questions or comments on tonight's consent?
I'll make a motion to approve an aggregate.
Thank you, Shelley. And a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Shreya. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. On to the organizational meeting.
Okay, so at this time, I will be asking for nominations for the position of president of the board. Do I have any nominations to discuss?
I'll make a motion to nominate Heather to continue to be the board president. I want to do that.
Thank you.
She's been doing a fantastic job and would love to see that continue.
Any discussion?
Thank you for your continued service. This role.
It is my absolute pleasure.
Do I have a motion?
I'll second the motion.
Yeah, I'll make the motion
And
to appoint
second.
Heather Sutton.
And I will second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now I will ask for nominations for the position of clerk of the board.
So I think Shelley has done a fantastic job as clerk. It's a mouthful and you've filled in for me. I appreciate that. But I also understand that you have a busy year ahead. And so I would actually make a motion to have Shriram serve as the clerk in the coming year.
And
Any discussion? So now I need a second.
I will second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
It's just like how Seattle does it. It has to be very, if it's a flashback for you, I apologize.
Her side does so much.
One time it took 2 hours.
Oh,
For this
I'm
part of
sure.
the
But I thought it could take much longer. Really, I want to say thank you for serving. Thank you, Heather, for serving.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Sharon, for serving.
Yeah, thank you. Aye.
Thank you for new roles. I think that's great. So.
Thank you for the support.
Practice my Zoom voice.
Your Zoom
Now you
voice.
can read
Yeah,
this
to
mouth.
read that. I'm gonna practice it.
You do remember that the goal for the clerk is to then serve ultimately as the board
Present.
chair, president. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
want to make sure that
Yeah.
we are connecting all the dots.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the hope.
That
That you
is-
get a chance to
yeah.
see what that seat is and what the responsibility is.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that part too.
Fabulous. And is it back to me?
Back to you, closing item.
All right, County Committee on School District Organization. That's usually the board president. And I'll.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. And that's fine by me to continue to serve in that capacity if I have the board's support.
Mhm.
Do we need to take action?
Proceed.
Probably.
Do it.
Okay,
Motion in a second.
I'll put.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'll put a motion to elect Heather as for the County Committee of School District Organization. I don't know if I said that right. but
That's
Yes.
good.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, designation of dates and times for meetings for the 25-26 school year. Holy moly.
They are attached, I believe, to the agenda.
And they pretty much match what we usually do.
Did anybody have any questions or?
25, 26, that's so far.
I refuse to look at. This is
Like adamantly just.
This is, I'm gonna put my head in the sand for one more week before I have to contemplate. No, it looks fine to me.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025-2026 board meeting dates.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
On to committee assignments. Is there any change? Any interest in changing?
Yeah, should we switch it for the Santa Clara
Yeah.
County School Board Association? Then I can.
Yeah, we could
hop
switch.
in Whenever.
Okay.
I can be the appointed and Shelley can
Yes.
be the alternate.
Oh, that sounds great. Any other changes?
Not to my knowledge.
Would you
Okay.
like to continue for MEF then?
I'm okay too, yeah. Unless somebody else has interest. Good, okay, so I don't know that we need to take action.
Yes.
We do, all
Might
right,
as well.
we might as well take action on that as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the
Yes.
committee assignments.
And I will second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, future meeting dates,
January 14th.
January 14th, that's,
There is a slight chance that the March 11th, I'll attend remotely.
okay,
Sorry, I meant to say, I will definitely attend it remotely. There's a slight chance that I might miss, but I'll try and, because I'll be on the other side of the world.
oh my goodness, okay. Anything else under future meeting dates? Announcements, reminders, requests?
We wrote down the requests around the developer fees for the El Paseo project for a Friday report.
Okay. I know we have a request for throwback pictures.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Send it to me.
School, so anything you have that can be a throwback, if it's school related, wonderful, if not, I'll take whatever you got, we would love to honor you in January for board appreciation.
By splashing our throwback picture.
Did you see the ones we did for Princeton?
Yes.
It was very popular.
It's
It was
awesome.
very popular. So now it's your turn.
Okay, fair enough.
So you've been warned, pick your favorite photo.
Did you need this one?
That'd be great.
Anything else under announcements, reminders, requests? And we are adjourned.
Awesome. Wow, just in time for.